Hi guys, Brandy Lee here. Hey, in today's video, I want to talk to you about letting go and what it feels like when you do and when you don't, and why it's important to do so. So, when we talk about letting go, we're essentially just talking about those things that block our path, okay? Whether that be literally through physical clutter or figuratively through limiting beliefs, thought forms, and negative emotions. Um, it's so easy, right, to say, oh, just let it go, just move on, you'll be better off. But in reality, so much harder, right? Super easier said than done. Um, and, there are reasons for that. We'll get into those here in just a minute. But I first want to walk through what it feels like when we are unable to let something go, and then when we are. Okay. So, a great way that I think we can express feelings is through pictures. So I have a couple of visuals that I want to show you. And first up, we're going to look at what it feels like when we are unable to let something go. Okay. Now, here we have a bird in a cage, right? Um, now, birds have wings for reason. They have wings for a reason. Okay. They are meant to, they're meant to fly. They're not meant to be imprisoned or confined. Okay. It's not their natural way. Now, quick side note, I feel like if we were to take a poll of all the birds in cages, we would find that most of them are not truly happy. Why? Because it's not their natural way. Okay. Um, Now, I would also venture to say the same about you. If you feel like you uh, need to let somebody go or want to let somebody go, but for whatever reason can't, right? Or you don't know how, I would venture to say that you too are feeling unhappy. Okay, um, so in this way, not letting go, it's very restrictive, right? It limits you, it keeps you stuck. Okay, it's inhibiting, it's suffocating, it can even be confusing. It can feel like you're going around in circles, or hitting roadblocks, right? Brick walls every turn. It can feel like you're standing in quicksand, right? That tight feeling, or that feeling drained, pulled down. um, it's unable to move, right? It's a very heavy and a very oppressive feeling, okay? And it can be very paralyzing, not being able to let something go, okay? Um, Now, even with all of these negative aspects, right? We have a deceptive side to this, and that it unfortunately creates this haven or shelter, right, that prevents people from being able to take action. Okay, and that's when the cage becomes very comfortable. It becomes very safe, very familiar, and we know it, right? Therefore, we erroneously believe that it protects us. Okay, not really fully understanding that it's actually hindering us. And but you, like the bird, must spread your wings and fly. So now I want to look at what it feels like when we are able to let something go. Okay, um, now, well, someone has opened that door. Okay, and when the cage door opens, your entire world changes. Okay, you are meant to live life, experience life as the bird who flies does. Okay, and that is with complete and total freedom. Okay, that is what being able to let something go, that is what it feels like. It's freeing. It's freeing. It's very liberating. It's very expansive, right? And it's burden lifting, right? I mean, you have this heavy weight on your shoulders, right, from not being able to let something go, and then when you finally do, I mean, poof, right? You're light as a feather, free as a bird. Okay, it's a very empowering feeling, right? It's a lighter feeling. It's very progressive, can be very exhilarating, even euphoric. honestly. I mean, think about it. The sense of happiness, excuse me, the sense of happiness and joy that comes from the freedom and being able to let things go. I mean, it's almost really indescribable, really. It's awe inspiring, can be, right? But even with all of these positive and very blissful aspects to it, um, there's also a shadow side to it that makes it very difficult to let things go. Okay, this is because it can bring up some very unnerving feelings, such as being very overwhelmed. Right? I mean, um, uh, think about think about inmates, right, that they've been locked up for however many years, right? They're constantly told what to do, when to do it, and then they suddenly get released, and then they're like faced with this the freedom and complete independence. I mean, think about how terrifying and how scary that could possibly be. Maybe not to all, but to some. I mean, in even in life in general. I mean, when you have all of these options and you can absolutely do anything, go anywhere and do anything that you want. I mean, sometimes that too can be very paralyzing, right? It's overwhelming. It's like, I don't know. I mean, where do you go first? What do you do? So it's it's especially hard to let things go when you feel like that you need that thing or that person, okay, that you need it, or you depend on them. um, and this is because of attachment. Okay, when we unnecessarily attach to something or someone, and we feel like we need them in order to survive, right? We can't life without them, or life without that thing. um, that's when we get into trouble. Okay, because now attachment in and of itself, it's not a bad thing, right? I mean, think about when we were infants, and it just came into this world. I mean, we need to create that attachment, that healthy bond with our caregiver, right? Because to feel loved, to feel safe, to have our needs met. But even so, attachment is actually one of the greatest causes of suffering in life. Okay, and it's because of that unhealthy, unnecessary attachment to something or someone beyond ourself. Okay, and essentially what we're doing when we have that unhealthy bond or that unnecessary attachment is that we're basically just giving our power away. Okay, our innate power. And we're just serving it up right on on a silver platter. Here you go. Because we have convinced ourselves, or told ourselves, or we have been told by someone else, right, that that you can't do it alone, that you have to have this thing, or that you rely on this thing that falsely is somewhat protecting you, making you feel safe. I mean, and it could be a multitude of things, or even another person, right? And how it shows up in life, it could be negative self-talk, right, from you to you. It can be toxic relationships. It can be the limiting beliefs in the on the mental plane, and the the beliefs and the thought forms that we have, right? If they're low level thoughts, or low level vibratory thoughts, or even like negative emotions, right? We hang on to like anger and fear and grief and guilt. I mean, resentment, all these things, right, that we hold on to eat away at us. Well, these are things that when we're able to let them go, right, it will bring us so many wonderful benefits. But we unnecessarily can attach to these things, thinking that they are serving us in some way, when in fact they're not. So when we become attached unnecessarily to this thing or this person, then we can become very rigid in our thinking, right? We can also become very stubborn in our behavior. Okay, we know best, right? You're not going to change my mind. Well, essentially, what we're doing, we're just standing in our own way. Okay, no one else is. We are. Um, but here's the funny thing about the cage, right? And the door, it locks from the inside. Okay, And that means that you, we, me, I mean, all of us, we are the only ones that have a key to open that door, to unlock that door. Okay, so it's up to each one of us. And this is why I want to then talk about why it's important that we do so. Okay, so letting go, I've got 4 things here. First thing is letting go accelerates our personal growth. Okay, plain and simple, right? When we're able to let things go, um, we can then we can then understand ourselves better, right? It allows us to reach our fullest potential, right? Because obviously we don't have anything holding us back. So number one, it definitely accelerates our growth, and that's what we're here to do, grow. So number two is that letting go reminds us of our innate power. Okay. For instance, like when we do things that we thought once was undoable, but then again, when we do, I mean, we're just showing ourselves how powerful we really are. You know, it's like, hey, you did it once, you can do it again if need be. And spoiler alert, you're going to have to. I'll just tell you, because that's life. We are continually going to be faced with things that we're going to need to let go of. And, you know, if you impress yourself once and say, you know, and do this thing that you thought you couldn't do, but you did, then guess what? You can do it again and again and again and again. Okay. So that's number two. Number three is that letting go deepens our connection to spirit. Okay. And it does this when we let things go, right? On a physical level, mental level, and an emotional level. When we clear things out on all levels, we then will automatically clear our direct channel to spirit, right? Which is essentially what our chakra system is, right? It's a straight line up and down our body from us to it, from us to spirit. And, you know, when we do that, right? I mean, everything is connected. But when we do that, you know, we're essentially just making it easier to then tap into our own intuitive wisdom. Okay. We're able to connect with our higher self, that of which resides in spirit. And, you know, through that, we're going to be able to make better choices for our life, reach our fullest potential, all kinds of great and wonderful things. That's number three. Number four is that letting go allows you to be the best you that you can be. Okay. And this is unencumbered and sovereign. Okay. Which is basically happy, healthy, and whole. Okay. And that's how we all are designed. And letting go allows us to go back to what we really are at a soul level. Okay. So I want to wrap it up, but one quick note is that if you are contemplating, right, letting something go, or letting someone go, the very first thing that you're going to need to do is ask yourself if you even want to, okay? Because you might not. You might not be ready to let it go. But first thing to do, ask yourself if you even want to let it go, okay? Because I'll tell you right now, if you are not ready, or if the answer to that question is no, not yet, then guess what? Don't even worry about letting it go, because you can't. You cannot let anything go that you do not want to let go, okay? That's the very first thing. And, you know, remember, you're the only one that's got a key to that door. So no one is going to be able to tell you when you're ready. You know when you're ready, and you know what you need to let go of. Just check in with your feelings. If you're not happy about it, or if you're in any way, shape, or form, any of those things that we had just mentioned earlier, you know, the restricted, you know, or in some way you feel like you can't move forward, you know, and you're just genuinely not happy, then that's a sign, right? That's a sign that these are some things that are no longer serving you. They're no longer serving your highest good, and they don't even want to be with you, for being real honest. I mean, because, you know, you are naturally supposed to experience life just like that bird did, right? With freedom. So anything that restricts your freedom is not serving your highest good, and you don't need it, plain and simple. But you need to be the one to realize that, and you need to be the one to then say, hey, this isn't serving me and I am ready to now let it go. And then you're going to be able to. Okay? So that'll do it for today. If you enjoyed the video, do let me know in the comments below or give me a thumbs up. I created this channel for 3 reasons. I want to inspire you to live in spirit. I want to empower you to live your fullest potential. And I want to uplift you with information that will help expand your consciousness. I post videos weekly, usually on Fridays, and they're on topics such as metaphysics and spirituality and numerology. So if those are some things that you're into too, then subscribe. I would love to have you. Till next time.